Oh, Dolores, only because I have a little digital, maybe not, I have an urgency for work, maybe not an emergency, but I need to handle something.
Okay. Meeting called to order at 7 p.m.
Do you want me to share the screen with the agenda? Or are you able to do that if I make you a host?
No, I'm not able. No.
Okay, fine.
I have the agenda if you want.
Okay, well then.
Well, let Teresa do it if you got to go to work.
Well, here's the problem. I don't know how to stop when I started sharing, of course. So I've got
What's that
it.
mean?
Assuming this is
But
the
you don't-
correct one. Let's see. Yes, it is. Okay, there you go. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Well, you're going off camera, but there, when we get into committee business, you're up for discussion on Saturday.
I understand. I have a minute of something to do. It's just I
Okay.
can't do it while we're doing this. So I'm gonna.
All right. Okay, meeting has been called to order at 7 p.m. First on the agenda is general public comments. Announcements and 1 minute per speaker. Any public comments?
We're going to, Madam Vice President, are we going to approve the agenda?
Um,
I think that's next, Dolores. Call to
you know
order and
what?
then approve the agenda.
I am so sorry. I always skip over that.
Yeah,
You like that, because you're ready to go. Get in, get out. You
and
like
I-
that.
And
Had to dump
361, AB 361. Yes, we know, Laura.
Why do we have to read that every time? It's on the agenda.
No, we just read silently. We just give a minute so everybody can just acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
you know, that wasn't what I was saying, Teresa. What I
Oh,
was saying
okay.
was that when I attempted to go do what I was doing, I think this got lost and you were about to see what I was going to be doing. So I'm back.
I read it.
Okay.
I'm good with that. And the agenda, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
I was,
Aye.
Any discussion?
yes, I'm gonna keep saying, I believe that we should, after the general comments, I think that we should have the review of the minutes. And then I think that we should look at our wallet to see the balance in our account before we look at any budget issues. So I think that after item 3 on this agenda, I think the next item should always be review of the minutes from the previous meeting. And then following that, I think we should look at the budget so we can see the balance in each sector before we look at spending money for each sector.
Are you talking about reviewing the money portion or doing your whole budget review?
At a minimum, we should look at the balance sheet. And not necessarily look at each item, but we should look at the balance sheet so we can know that, for example, if we are
If we have any money to
in that
spend?
sector, yes, because it's like looking in your wallet before you go into the store to buy something, so that we know that we're not overspending.
And can we change the item on the agenda for the executive committee anyway? Call to order and then under that approval of agenda, because I always look over it for
Yes,
some
we can do
reason.
that. We can do that.
My brain is not working properly.
We can do
Okay.
that.
Did we get a second, Dolores, for approval of the agenda? Do we need a second?
I thought we
Yeah.
had a second.
I'll
I think
second.
I seconded it anyway,
Oh, okay. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
but I
and
have my hand up.
Laura,
So, Greg, although I have heard this request over and over again, sorry, the only piece that would need to be upfront is what money we have available. The reason we have business before treasurer's report or even minutes is because we have, especially at governing board, many guests. And we usually need to handle the items that involve the guests. But I understand you know, we had discussed 2 meetings ago, last meeting, I don't even remember, the possibility of just appending the budget or appending the budget snapshot to each of our agendas so that everyone can just see it before they've ever even arrived. So that, you know, we don't have to have a long discussion about that right now, but we're trying to stick to the agenda template that we've used for the majority of our lifetime of this neighborhood council. Neither Dolores nor I made this one up. You know, this is the template that's been used for a very long time. Your point is very well taken about we kind of do need to know how much money we have before we start talking about spending money, but we don't need the full on everything up front, in my opinion.
I just said all that in 5 seconds.
It's the idea is to append, if we appended the current snapshot of the budget to the executive and governing board agendas, just part and parcel appended to it, then everyone would see it before they arrive to the meeting. Assuming they look at the agenda itself.
Teresa?
Thank you, Dolores. Well, no, most people don't look at the agenda. And in this case, Laura, you didn't post it until a day or two ago. But I would like to make the suggestion that maybe just for executive, we put the treasury budget portion first and then continue on. I mean, we can do it certainly after the guests have, if we have guests after they speak. Maybe we don't do it for governing board, but there's no reason why, Dolores, you can't decide. It's, you know, this is your meeting. You can decide the order. And just because we've always done it that way doesn't mean we have to continue. So I think it would be helpful. I try to always read the documents beforehand, but many people don't. But it may be helpful if we could get a snapshot, just a snapshot before we start, you know, reviewing our finances.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. I agree that we need to have a snapshot of the budget before we start spending. We don't want to go over our budget, but the full budget, I think, can wait until the treasurer's report. So let's see here.
We need a vote because
We need to vote
yes,
on the agenda.
yes, approving the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think
Those opposed? Okay, seeing none, motion carried. All right. Now, public comments. 1 minute per speaker. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none. Moving on to executive committee business. Parliamentarians' duties, future replacement of current parliamentarian. Laura, sorry.
Well, I'm aware that my name is on this. The part of this that's me is just to report that Nancy Cruz will be moving, therefore she will not be eligible to be on the board at all. She won't be eligible for her seat. And since we had elected her as parliamentarian, therefore she also won't be the parliamentarian. And to replace the parliamentarian is an action by the board. We'll need to schedule that on the agenda for January as an action by the board, or February. She hasn't given me a date certain of when her resignation is effective, and I have asked. But I think Greg wanted to discuss what the actual duties were. I mean, he's the one who had requested this initially on the agenda.
My request was to assure that we have one, and that when we have one, that we utilize that individual. So that's it. So I'm good.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item?
I have a question. How do we go about doing that? We just put it out there. Is anybody interested in doing it? And if they are, then we just like the appointments for our committees and alliances. That's how we go about doing that. And then if no one does volunteer to do it, that's just that, or what happens next?
We do have an individual that is interested in taking the position.
Okay.
Okay.
So Laura, you're going to add, we'll put that on your segment for items that need to go on the governing board for January.
Well, it can't really go on the agenda until Nancy actually
Oh,
resigns.
Yeah, okay.
And Laura says she's asked her about it and she has not responded. So it kind of puts us in a quandary.
We can assume tentatively it could be on the January 6th agenda. We certainly could send an email. Well, Greg says somebody is interested. It's not, I don't know, Teresa, if it's quite the same as committee appointments in that, I mean, we basically held an election for officers and we elected the parliamentarian at the same time. I don't know that we have anything in the bylaws that say how it's done, but you know, I mean, I guess it's the same, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Committee chairs are supposed to be 2/3 vote. I don't think this is contentious where we're going to have a split vote anyway. So, so Greg, do you think we should put the word out to all, or?
Yeah. Just put it out there. Who wants to be the parliamentarian?
Okay.
And see who says yes.
But can we do that? And Nancy hasn't, she's indicated that she's going to be moving. She hasn't given up her position. She was elected into that position. So
Right.
how can we advertise it if she has not given us a definitive answer? That's my
Because she, if I may,
Greg?
because since she has told us that she's going to leave, I guess we could frame it in that this may be coming up, and is anyone interested in it, please let us know. And we could say the nomination will open as soon as we receive her letter of resignation. So it's like FYI, for your information, this is what's coming up, but it's not official until we receive her.
Okay,
letter.
okay.
That's, so
I just hate doing,
double work.
no, as my mother used to say, doing stuff HA.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't know that it's
I just got that. Okay.
but I'm not sure it's exactly that. We can, remember, we wanted to have 2 anyway, because we really wanted to have someone for exec. So, maybe we just couch it differently and don't make it just a weird agenda announcement. We could send,
Okay.
we can send an email to members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next item 4B, report and update regarding the use of the chat function in UNC Zoom meetings. Laura?
Okay, well, so as you all asked me to do, I did email our NEA, Gibson Nyambura, with a request, can we do private chat? So just for everyone in the audience and maybe even officers who might not be clear, there's 3 kinds of chat in Zoom. One is the chat to everyone. One is where only the hosts can do the chatting. And the third is private chat, where every person in the meeting can one-on-one chat with other people who are in the meeting one-on-one. There's sort of a middle compromise one where I figured out that where anyone who's a host or co-host could privately chat with other hosts with the host or other co-hosts, but they shouldn't. So anyway, the request was, can we do private chat? So this is the official answer. Dunn does not wish us to use chat, period, not at all. And I said we are going to use chat because we use it most often to post our motions, if somebody's having trouble raising their hand and wishes to speak, they can send the host the message, or the moderator, if we had one. I'm trying to raise my hand, please call on me to speak. What we have seen lately is, because the way Zoom is set up, they've changed how chat does or doesn't automatically start with a meeting. So at this point, it automatically starts with a meeting. And what a lot of people are now doing is posting links to the thing they may have made a public comment about, so it's very useful. And so what Gibson basically said is, if you insist on doing that kind of chat, then the saved chat at the end of the meeting is to be appended to your minutes. So that essentially we have double minutes. One is sort of tracking what was going on in the meeting via the chat, and the other is the regular minutes. In terms of private chat, he said, absolutely not. We just can't have people having private conversations during a public meeting. So the private chat is off the books. What I have noticed, because Dolores asked me the question, what does the chat record? And it does turn out that if a host and if the co-hosts are sending each other messages, it does record that. So I think we need to be very cognizant that that shouldn't be happening, because I'm seeing notes that probably shouldn't be there between people. And I see Teresa has her hand up.
Teresa?
Thank you, Dolores. Well, if you guys remember, I was the one who brought it up, because at several other meetings that I attend, the chat is list all the participants, and you can send a direct message to someone else participating in the meeting. So I wanted to be able to say hello, or welcome, or something to someone. For instance, in our neighborhood, the Avenues meeting that is open, that's not an official meeting, but you can say, oh, hi, how are you? I haven't seen you. How are you doing? Just quick comments. And all of my other official meetings, those chats are open also, where you could send something. Now, if Dunn has a particular stance that we can't do that, that's fine.
Right.
I will concede and say, okay, I'm going to give up this fight. I still think we should be able to do it. I need to be able to say hello to someone who I haven't seen. We're not meeting in person. We have constituents that come to these meetings, and we should be able to say something nice to them. So I'm going to let that go. But my question to Laura is, so if I like the idea where we put in links where someone has, oh, this is Ciclavia, we're going to put the link in, or
Right.
other people. Are we going to now, does that need to be printed off and attached to the meetings, to the meeting minutes, or
Exactly.
appendicized?
That's
Okay.
what he's saying. That's what he's saying, that whatever, I mean, like tonight so far, we have nothing in the chat, but whatever goes in the chat is automatically, because we're recording this, becomes part of the meeting recording. So I would just, I know we're giving you everything else onto the hard drive, but I would just email you the chat
Yeah,
next morning.
I save the chat each time. I mean, I go
Anyway.
back and look at it when I'm doing the minutes.
Right, because it's very valuable. I mean, I look at the chats as well. I mean, is to find the motions. I mean, I go back to all the committee meeting chats before we do the governing board agenda to make sure I'm capturing their motions, if there are any, et cetera. So it's very useful. I actually like the idea. I don't know why we didn't think of it a year ago, but we
Okay.
didn't.
Okay, so
Thank
I
you,
will.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Teresa. Item 4C is a funding request. Can we get a budget brief from Greg, please?
Sure.
What do you call it?
Can I share?
Quick-
Can I
quick
share?
look. Yeah.
I am waiting to have share capabilities.
Yeah, Greg, I was busy telling you, hey, you're going to be good with, but I was muted.
Okay, I have share capabilities now, and boom, boom, boom. Okay, let me see, where do I want to go?
So this is just a highlight of how much money we got and how much we got left over we can spend, right?
Yes, that's
Not the full shebang.
not the full shebang.
Okay.
Okay. So in the, let me just make it a verbal then. In the NPG area, we have spent 2,000, we put $3,000 on that line. We have spent $2,000. We've given that to Dynasty, the tutoring services. We had another $1,000 that we were going to give to Sons Matters, but they did not provide the proper paperwork after multiple times of asking them. So that has been canceled. So on the NPG level, we have $1,000. We also have money in the community improvement line that we can move around.
How much is that?
Hold on. Let me go to a different screen. So the community improvement, we have $6,000 on that line. On that line.
So we have 7,000 we can.
$7,000 that we can use. Now, the issue is that when we go into the full report, you will see that we have a negative balance on the NPG because the funds for KYCC appears on the budget, and that $6,900 is really from last year, but it appears to be from this year. So that's something that I'm working with the city on and correcting, because they need to credit us those funds. So it will seem like a negative amount, but it is really not. So that's
we don't actually have the 6,000.
No, we
because it's coming, but it's not there.
On the budget sheet from the report, it appears that we do not, but based on everything that they have shared with us and told us and sent us an email, it was money from last year. But when they ran it, it appears on this year's budget.
No.
So that needs to be corrected. So we do have this $6,000. It's just visibly, it doesn't appear to be that right now. But we are working to correct that error.
So it sounds like it's not actually in our coffers where we can put our hands on it. So the real money is just $1,000 is what it sounds like to me.
In a very technical sense, in the NPG area, we are, well, let me share the screen. So I guess that would help. That will help. Share screen.
Laura, while he's pulling that up. Laura?
I know here.
Okay, you ready?
Okay,
Okay.
I'll wait. Go ahead,
Okay,
Greg.
look.
Go ahead.
Look. Okay, so coming down here to.
It's not, we're not seeing it yet.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah, no, we don't
Your
see it
screen
yet.
is paused. Why is my screen paused?
Well, Dolores, all I was going to say while he's doing that, we can always do a budget adjustment. That's,
We
you know,
don't
that's
need
why we have the split treasurer's report at the top of the meeting. Again, at governing, we can spend money, and at the bottom of the meeting, as long as we have all the money, we vote under treasurer's report for budget adjustments, and we move the money around at that point. So first we vote to spend it, and then we adjust it near the end of the meeting.
Yeah, but we don't need to do that.
Well, we
let me
don't do
say-
that at executive. We do that at governing.
I do not know why my screen is paused.
Okay,
I don't know how to fix that.
so we're gonna go by your verbal report
Okay.
is that we have 7,000 that we could work with.
Yes, and so I am
Okay.
working with the city to say, you need to credit us the money from last year. So it doesn't appear that we spent over $6,996 plus
Can you
another
take your
1,000.
screen down, please? My only
Well-
concern is that Dunn has a real bad habit of dragging their feet when it's time to give us our money back. That's my only concern. Teresa, Laura, and then Paul.
Thank you. Greg, today I saw an email from the city clerk denying the request. Can you explain that?
Okay, so what that was is that the request it was from last year. So they denied the request from last year because they used the money from last year
From what?
and from what or for what? Because we had several projects that were still pending. We had the California Greenworks project. We had the KYCC project. We had the bill for the photographer from last year. And those were requests that were not executed from last year, but the money was encumbered and set aside. The debate was, would we still be able to execute that? And they had said that, yes, you still can spend that money and that we could spend it as long as we did so before the end of this year. So with the KYCC, the NPG was for last year. So they canceled that. And then what they did was they supposedly credited those funds to this year. And so it appears that it came out of this year's funds. The part that is still missing for everyone is that they did not move the money into our account from this year. It just appears that they took the money out of our account for this year. That's why it shows that we have a negative balance in that area. The fix for that is for me to talk to them and say, which I am talking to them and say, these two bills for the photographer, $1,500, the bill for KYCC, which is the $6,996, and then also the Jefferson Park NPG, what they need to do, well, they could do it several ways, but the best way is to show that they credited those funds to this year, or not even show them at all on this year's budget. So, but they haven't responded to my request to fix that yet.
Laura?
Yeah, I'm looking at the portal right now, and it is rather screwy. What they've done in the email we got today was they denied the NPG from last year, and with a series of comments about it's going to be resubmitted and processed in the current fiscal year. The funds are accrued from fiscal year 2021. So that's the one that we got today, denying the NPG from the original one that we submitted. And then when we get to the current year, they've approved it. They've already approved the same one. And NPG will be issued funds accrued from FY 2021. So what's obviously happening, I'm understanding what Greg is saying. It's just that that's because he and I can both look at the portal. That what they're saying is it's approved, and what Greg is also saying is that yay, but they haven't transferred the funds. So right now it's showing approved. It got swept from the current funds, but in the fine print where you click on it, you can see the words. They're saying it's from funds accrued from last year. So they just have to figure out how to accrue the funds and give them to us. So I don't think we need to worry about it, is what I'm trying to say. It's just, they're the ones who held it and held it and held it and held it. And then now they're trying to figure out technically how to move it. But it shouldn't really change our budget availability for this year.
Paul? Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, I think maybe Laura, combined with Greg's responses, clarified the question I had, which was, one, is this credit that Greg was talking about that's giving us like 7,000 to play with related to the denied funding request that Teresa and I saw in the email earlier today? Sounds like that's a yes. And then, do we really have like responses from the city saying that, yeah, we're going to actually have these funds available to us once they correct the accounting and the portal? And that sounds like a yes as well.
Yes.
So,
That's correct.
okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions,
I guess,
Teresa?
yes, thank you, Dolores. I just need clarification. When we talk about KYCC in this context, we're talking about Washington Boulevard and the tree planting on Washington Boulevard.
That's
Correct.
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 That's
Thank
correct.
you.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so item 4C, funding request as part of our larger Martin Luther King Day of Service event that includes free COVID testing, vaccines, and mammograms to be held on Saturday, January 15th, 2022. Ignited Light will also be distributing an estimated 2,000 food boxes to food insecure South LA families. Ignited Light requests funds from UNNC to purchase 50 food boxes at $30 each from World Harvest. Request up to $1,500. Discussion and action. Who's presenting this?
Let me see if I could, is this showing now?
Yes.
Ms.
No.
Bates?
I don't see the presentation, but I'm fine doing it without the presentation if that works for everyone.
Cassandra, you hadn't submitted a presentation to me.
Oh, I sent it to Greg. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I have
Oh.
the NPG. Can you see that?
It is, you have to click on it.
I just see your file.
It's not
and,
open.
Yeah, it's not open.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't share anything. So someone else has to share. It's on the shared drive, but I can't.
Okay,
I can't
here, let
share
me
anything.
just pull it. See.
I'm in the drive right now. What
Okay,
document?
so
No,
what
right
you
Are you
need,
gonna do it, Laura?
yeah, what, no, I'm not. If you're in the drive, I'm just gonna make you a co-host.
Okay. Are we? you want me to
Because
put-
I
bring
don't
up her
have the file
application?
open.
Okay, Greg, do you want me to pull up her application? Is that what I?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
You want to talk us through this, Greg, or Cassandra, or?
Cassandra should be presenting.
Okay,
Yeah, she should present the
Okay, sure. I'm happy to do that. All right. So again, I'd like to first thank you for allowing me to present to you today. And also, I want to thank you for your support of Ignited Light and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service for its 2021 event, which was January 16th, I believe. So we are now in the process of planning for the January 15th, 2022 event. And just as we were dealing with the pandemic for 2021. We're still dealing with some of the same issues as you all are aware. So we are going to continue to be outside, and we will continue to provide services. I do want to let you know that one of the benefits of the pandemic was that we had an increase of 5 times the amount of residents that we were able to serve in Los Angeles. So we served over 1,200 Los Angeles residents through the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service event for 2021. And we'd like to try and increase those numbers for 2022. So our plan is to continue with the food drive. We would like to distribute 2,000 boxes of food. We do have a donation of 1,000 boxes of perishable and non-perishable items from the Los Angeles Food Bank. And our goal is to purchase 1,000 boxes of food from World Harvest Food Bank, which would be all perishable items, or primarily perishable items. And there would be enough to feed a family of 4 for a week. In addition to that, we are partnering with the Los Angeles County to provide COVID testing, COVID vaccinations, and booster shots for all forms of the COVID vaccination. In addition, we will have the AIDS Healthcare Foundation available to provide HIV and STD testing. And we are in the process, we will also have voter registration available for those people who are interested in doing that as well. There are some other partners that we are working with, potential partners that we're working with. So we are going to have Keenan Insurance will be providing backpacks for children, which will have a lot of school supplies available to them. And we're also going to have volunteers from LAPD, they're available as well, and they will be passing out items in addition. So our biggest, if you could go to slide, oh, you had the PowerPoint up, but it's gone now, so that's okay. But in addition to that, so we're still partnering with our major partners are the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza, which is where the event will be, Home and United Methodist Church, Community Build, Los Angeles Sentinel, TEDx Crenshaw, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, and local businesses in the area. And one of them, which has been a supporter from the beginning and since 2016, is the Crenshaw Chamber of Commerce. Our budget is included, and as I mentioned before, there's 2 of the major resources that we're working on now are mammograms. We would like to provide free mammograms to women who qualify for those. And so far we have not gotten enough women to provide the free mammograms. We need a minimum of 25 registered prior to January 15th in order for the mammograms to be free. So I have included the link for women who are interested in free mammograms. And that link is ilight.gives/mammograms. And they can just go to that link and register. And it is in Spanish and English.
So Cassandra, when you're finished presenting, will you just type that into the chat, please?
Yes, I'm very happy to do that. And what we're asking for from United Neighborhood Council is financial support to assist in the purchase of the food for the food distribution. And that is in the amount of $1,500.
Okay, and I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to interrupt as well, Dolores. I do see there is a PowerPoint presentation uploaded to our Google Drive. If you wanted Teresa to share that. I don't know if it's more information than what's actually in the budget.
I don't think we really need the PowerPoint.
At this point, I pretty much have gone through the entire PowerPoint, but
Right.
if you happen to have time and you would like to see what we did in 2021, I did include a link with a video so you could actually see how everything turned out for this year. So you were responsible in helping us make that possible. But that, of course, could be at another time. But I basically have gone through the entire presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay.
I have a question. Besides, I saw you have posters and flyers. How are you just getting information out to the public besides social media? I mean, how are you distributing the posters and flyers?
The posters and flyers, we are doing, the majority of our promotion is basically through social media. But we do have flyers and posters that we are passing out to organizations and asking them to solicit them as well, and also upload them to their website. So a lot of our partners have been uploading the information to their websites and circulating them to their other connections and partners.
What about the, I'm always concerned that in today's days, we are predominantly promoting whatever via social media. And my concern is that people that aren't on social media, and there's a lot of people, don't get the information timely. So I'm just wondering if maybe you can utilize churches and senior centers and what have you.
And we are also circulating information to churches and senior citizens, senior centers as well, where we've actually physically dropped off information to senior communities, as well as asking pastors to circulate this information to their congregations, as well as to other pastors in their conference.
Does that include the Spanish speaking churches?
Yes.
Thank you. Lizzie.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I do have a question. I missed the beginning of the presentation. I was wondering, will there be booths, or is this strictly a drive-through event?
We will have, well, the drive-through event is for the food distribution, but the vaccinations and testing is not drive-through. So you can either pre-register for that or walk up and receive the vaccination or the test. And that is also true for the HIV, AIDS, and STD testing as well.
I see. But you won't have booths available for organizations to be there to do outreach? That would be very useful for us.
If there are some organizations who are interested in having a booth, depending on what it is, we are open to that. As I mentioned, we are going to have voter registration available for those people who would like to register. So are you thinking of, is there an organization that you're thinking of specifically?
Ourselves. I'm the chair of outreach for UNNC.
Okay, and that is possible. What we are doing is providing a tent as well as a banner so that people will see them and be able to walk up to them if they would like to participate. So we are open to that. What we want to do is make sure that we're following the guidelines, the COVID guidelines.
Yes, of course.
And so that's why we're not having as many booths as we normally have over the previous years.
All right.
Thank
I will
you,
be
Lizzie.
sure to reach out to you. Thank you so much for the
You're welcome.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie. Laura?
Yeah, actually I have a question more for Greg. Since the food is coming, the food boxes, it's World Harvest, and they do take our credit card. I mean, this can be a credit card purchase. Normally an MPG is a check to the organization, right? It's not World Harvest, but Ignited Light if we were to approve this. But Greg, are we able to use, so that the timing works, are we able to use the credit card for an MPG if you have any knowledge? Meaning, first because our board meeting is not until January 6th.
Yeah, we have other ways of supporting them and getting the food. yeah, we have other ways of helping them with that.
Well,
I'll get to
I
that in a
will
minute.
tell you guys, sadly, that John and I have discovered that if we're going to actually talk about, I digress for a second, the SB9 at City Council, we might have to have a quick special board meeting anyway, sadly, later this month, which will be really hard to achieve and probably can't get quorum. But if we did, we could do a twofer. That's all, to move this up if we wanted to, which we haven't even discussed the merits. But
Any
but
other
I do
questions?
know that
regarding-
World Harvest takes the credit card. So that part I know
Yes,
how we bought the food boxes previously from World Harvest.
And I can also add to that, in that discussion, that if we have had other organizations who have gone directly to World Harvest to purchase the boxes. And also, if you wanted to include stickers to put on those boxes that you've purchased, you may do that as well, and just give them to World Harvest, and they will attach them to the boxes.
Did you have a question, Greg? Yes?
yeah, I have two
Thank you,
issues.
Cassandra.
You're welcome.
I
Thank
have
you.
two issues. One that I've spoken with Cassandra in quite detail about, and then another area is concerning helping them with the food part. One, I told Cassandra that when we come to this presentation, that I would recommend that we not approve it, because last year the request was for us to support with COVID testing. And then when it came time to request for the record of how the money was spent, the money, the COVID testing was provided free to the organization, and so the funds were not used for COVID testing. So we talked about that back and forth quite a bit back in February, and then Cassandra told me that she used the funds for buying food. My concern as the treasurer is that when we give money to an organization, that the organization needs to use the funds for the purpose that we gave it to them. And if that changes, and we talked about this in February also, that if that changes, then the organization in the past has come to us and said, this is the change for that. So for that reason, I'm going to recommend that we not provide any funds to this because of last year. But having said that, we are able to, World Harvest, or I spoke with World Harvest, and World Harvest, because of UNNCC's relationship with World Harvest is willing to support us with this project in providing free 100 food boxes to their organization. So I'm recommending that we not provide any funds, but World Harvest will work with us in supporting this event by providing 100 boxes, which is free, which is more than what they're asking for, and will serve twice as many people as they're asking for. So we just need to let World Harvest know that UNNC wants 100 boxes, and they provide boxes, even with some, they said even with meat, a protein in it also.
Teresa, then Laura.
Thank you, Dolores. So if I understand you correctly, Greg, because Cassandra did not use the money that for the direct purpose of COVID testing, you are concerned. Would you have preferred her to say, oh, UNNC, here's your money back. I got free tests, so you can have your money. Or you just wanted her to come back and say, oh, I got free testing, so can I now use this money for food? I mean, are you just annoyed that she didn't
The
come back to you?
protocol, what was that phrase?
Well, I said annoyed, but I mean,
Yes, that's,
okay.
no, I'm not annoyed.
Okay.
I'm concerned about the, if we give money for a set purpose, then that the funds need to be used for that purpose. If, and things do change. I remember one time we had an organization that they were doing something with books or with a play or something. And so that item changed. Then what they did was they came back to us and said, this issue changed, and they presented that change to us so that we can say, yes, that's in keeping with what we will support. So my concern in this case is that I know the work is good, but when I asked for the record of how the money was spent, I could not obtain a record of how the money was spent. So now as we come back a year later, it's all after the fact. And then we spent, the event was in January, and we spent a good part of February and March going back and forth on tracking how was the money spent, because to me, all funds that we give out, we need to account for, and we could not account for how that money was spent.
But actually, Greg, we could, because when you talked to Cassandra, she came forward and said, oh yes, well, this is what happened, and this is how I spent the money. And I don't want to punish somebody because they were truthful. You know what I mean? Yes, maybe she should have said, oh, this is happening. I want you guys to know I'm going to now use the money like this. But when you did question her about it, she said, oh, well, this is
No.
what happened. But okay, I hear you.
That
Thank
was
you.
that was
We're
not
gonna
correct,
have a
Teresa.
back and forth.
Oh, it wasn't?
Laura, and then Paul.
Yeah. So in general terms, when we give a grant, we're supporting the efforts of a 501c3 organization for a purpose, right? And when I look at their NPG from a year ago, and I realize that we also voted maybe more specifically, but on the NPG a year ago, it discussed the need for food. For the testing kits purchase, that was $26,000 total dollars. Tents, tables, chairs. I mean, in other words, it was broader. I do think our conversations were, focused on the testing kits, that we would be contributing to that. But as we learned when Dolores and Greg and I attended a meeting with the city clerk not too long ago, when we do an NPG, we have to, it's not so much trust, but they're not performance standards. They are supposed to do a written report afterwards, but it's not a exact dollars and pennies for that it follows exactly. We have granted them support. So I think we need to be more careful perhaps than in either our expectations or our donations. If we're expecting that our funds, when granted to an organization, are very, very, to be specific and narrow, we need to say that. But I think the clerk was warning us that that is not how it works in their world. That in their world, if you do a community, improvement project where you're essentially hiring a vendor, then you can do very specific performance standards and this and that and the other. But when you give a grant, they can't go spend it in Rio de Janeiro for a vacation, but it may adjust because they may get other grants that they're asking for at the same time. So I think we just have to somewhat adjust our expectations and make tighter the requirements for the after action report with an absolute deadline for that report to be turned into us. So.
Thank you, Laura. Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say coming into this a year later is that, I mean, Cassandra and the organization came to us and explained what had happened. Greg, I guess with your conversations, you've clarified how the process should be going forward. And then, we have a great organization here that's doing good work in the community, and we should place our faith and trust that this time around, it's going to be done the way we need it to be done, so we can go to our city clerk folks and present to them what they need. So I'm still comfortable proceeding, on that basis.
Thank you, Paul. I agree with Paul, and I also agree with Greg in the sense that we as a board have a fiduciary responsibility of the money that is supposed to be spent on the community. And it seems as though Cassandra's organization is doing a good thing towards our community. And even though the initial presentation was for the COVID, she did say it was used towards food, even though we don't have any proof of that. I understand where you're coming from. As the treasurer, Greg, you have to be very careful about how we spend our money and the report after that. However, I don't think that we need to punish the organization because whatever they're doing is going towards the community, and that's what we're about. So I would be in favor of supporting this funding request with the caveat that we get a written report back from the organization on how our money was spent. So any other comments, questions?
Yes. My
Yes.
second part is that the request is for food, and the amount of money that we're providing would purchase 50 boxes, but because of our relationship with the Harvest organization, they will provide 100 boxes. So we could provide.
Did you go strong arm them?
No, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do that at all. I did not. So
I'm a little giddy this evening.
I know that's fine. But we're able to use our relationship with that organization to support another organization even in a greater way than what they're asking for.
Well, let me ask Sandra, how do you feel about that? I
Well,
mean,
I'm sorry, I cut
you
you
were
off.
going to spend the money on 50 and he's arranged to get 100 boxes of food. So,
Well, I can tell you, first, let me just clarify something. In terms of providing the report, I did provide a report, and I also came back to the committee and gave a report as well. And so I thought I had submitted everything that was requested. I was not aware that I needed to submit receipts as well. And so that was the conversation that Greg and I had after the fact. Moving forward in terms of the amount of boxes, I would love to receive twice as much as I've asked for, however it comes to me. So if we can have 100 boxes of food instead of $1,500, I would greatly appreciate that.
Well, that's
And I like the idea of putting the labels on there too. That would be great for UNNC outreach.
Laura?
Yeah, and now we know that a friend of ours, Rena, can make the labels for us. So we're all in really good shape. But we would have to, because the last batch of labels I just bought, but if we're gonna get big ass labels, I would like us to at least vote the money for that. You know, to print the labels. But yeah, Greg, do you think if World Harvest does this, which is great, are they going to come back to us and ask, which is also great, but ask for another funding going forward, which would be fine. We've given them a lot of funds, but what do you think? Is there going to be a quid pro quo in this fiscal year? In this fiscal year, that's my only question.
Well, they're happy with our relationship.
Yeah.
And so they said because of their relationship with UNNC, which means we've given them money in the past, lots of money.
Lots of money.
They're willing to do this.
Right.
So
I mean, there's lots of hungry people.
right.
I mean, you know, I'm
So
very
let's just do
proud
this.
of our efforts to help with food insecurity.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's move forward with this.
So,
Okay.
well, no, we can't just move forward. How do we handle this funding request then? Is it withdrawn? How does it work?
Why do we have to withdraw it, Dolores?
We don't.
Okay, so it says discussion and action. So the action would be, we're not going to fund it because of the other arrangements that was made?
I
We need to do
think,
something with it.
yeah, Dolores, my personal feeling is that for tonight, we forward the $1,500 request to the board and then I'll attempt to get in writing this promise from World Harvest, which would cancel before we ever get to board the need to spend the money. But I think tonight's the night we, just in case that doesn't come through, we need to take something forward to the board. Where, where if it turns out we need to purchase some food, the food to help this effort along. Greg, I trust you implicitly, and I also trust Glenn implicitly. However, he's very disorganized. So I think I don't want to have a special meeting, either of the board or executive. So my thing I would do is vote to move this forward. We don't have to vote it with a recommendation. We can just move it forward. Greg, if you're uncomfortable voting yes.
I'm gonna vote no.
I
mean, I'm very clear about
it
that.
sounds like you're comfortable with that, but my point is we can move it forward without a vote, just so it ends up on the agenda.
Just to be quite
I
honest,
don't-
I don't like moving things forward without having a
Okay.
particular point of view.
Well,
Yeah,
my
thank
point
you.
of
We
view
need to
is
say-
I was going to be happy to pay for it. I'm really happy to not pay for it, but at the moment, I'm happy to move it forward with a recommendation to pay $1,500 for food, for that distribution.
But you're going to try to get the letter, Laura?
No, Greg was.
Oh, Greg, you're going to get the letter.
I don't.
You don't wanna?
No, it's not a matter of I don't want to. The issue is that we're talking to one of our peers, and my peer said, we will do this for you. And then for us to go back and question them about that, it's like, I mean, yeah, I can say, this is the date of the event, this is the time of the event, this is the location of the event. Do we need to pick up the boxes, or will you deliver them? So.
Well, actually, you won't have to deliver them because they'll be delivered. Glenn will deliver them with the rest of the boxes that we
Right.
purchased.
Okay, yes, so that clarifies that. So, because he said, where is the event and all that good stuff, so. Yeah, I just feel like this portion of the conversation is making it harder because.
Yeah, it's not harder. We have to do something with it because it's on the agenda and it says discussion and action.
No,
So
I
what
will
is the
ask her,
action?
I will let Glenn know that it's what we like to do. And he will say yes, and then we're good to go on far as the
Okay.
food delivery. So
And-
yes,
And as far as the action on this item,
we have to, the board members need to vote. So we
that's
need to
what
make,
Laura said.
huh?
Okay, all in favor of, entertain a motion to move this item to the full board.
I make a motion. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Teresa, go ahead, please.
Okay, I make a motion that we move this item as stated to the governing board for approval.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Oh,
Aye.
aye.
Okay.
Those, I'm an aye, and you're opposed,
Yes.
you're opposed, Greg.
I'm
Okay,
opposed, right?
Okay.
all right, motion carries. We have the majority. Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
And
you
you're
very much. And I just do want to say, I do appreciate your consideration. And if for some reason you decide that you would still like to contribute financially, we still are in need of other resources so the money would still be used well and for the community if you decide to award the grant.
So I have a question to Greg and or Laura. That was my thought, but I didn't voice it. Can the funding request be amended to just go towards the full shebang as opposed to specifically for the food?
Technically, I mean, we could amend the current motion, But again, an NPG is broad, but if you want it amended that we're supporting the organization in its efforts to do this annual day of service, comma, including food distribution, comma, up to $1,500. But I'm not the mover nor the seconder. I'm
Greg,
just the voter.
Okay, my concern is almost like a set of railroad tracks. We have expressed in the past that we need to make sure that we're not supporting events. And so we had very, not narrow, but we had guidelines on what we can do with our funds. So I'm of the mindset that when an organization brings their request to us, they want us to support a particular aspect of it. And since our funds can't go just to anything, when we present it to the city, we need to show that our funds were used for a specific item. So I think that this request, as long also with other requests, need to be very specific about what our funds are going for. So I'm not in favor of just saying, in general, we're giving you money to support an event.
okay, we've already voted on it, so it'll go to the full board. Thank you, Greg. Next item on the agenda is item D. What happened to Cassandra?
Yeah, she left.
She left.
Yeah.
Pending board vacancy, area 5C2B, Group B, 2023, Laura.
Yeah, so I haven't heard back from Gibson. You know, I get these moments where he answers a lot of questions and he disappears for another 6 days. I don't know what to say, but
What seat is
again,
that?
that's Nancy's seat. Nancy alerted us early without giving us a specific date of resignation, so we could start marketing that seat. And the only thing I'm not sure of is, can we start marketing the seat when it's not yet vacant? And in a way, I don't know why we can't. But, you know, I just wanted to put that on the agenda. So, because what I'd really like to do is start marketing it, i.e. schedule, you know, tell people they have a month, more than a month, to turn in their applications, and that we'll be interviewing candidates at the January executive committee meeting, January 18th. I just don't know for sure if we need Nancy's resignation in hand by the 17th or not of January. So what do you guys think?
I think that we should be specific with Nancy in giving us a date of resignation so we can move forward.
Yeah, because it's a good idea to have more time to do the marketing, but I just hesitate. Yeah. So, okay. So that's how that item is. So we're in agreement that I have to get Nancy's got a date certain. I know we cannot actually appoint at the board unless the seat is vacant.
Right.
So it doesn't mean we could interview, but we at executive, but the appointment itself has to be for vacancy.
I don't even know. That's a technical question. I don't even know if we can do that. We're in the same position here as we are with CD 10.
Yeah.
He's holding the seat. He hasn't resigned, and we can't do anything until he does something.
All right. So since the reason she wrote me was so we could mark it, let me just say again to her, we just really needed a date certain. Okay. That's it.
Okay. Item E, inventory report and upload update. Who's doing that? I don't have a name on it.
I will share my 2 cents worth on this. The inventory is uploaded. The BAC is uploaded. Done.
Thank you.
That's all I'm gonna say. Yes, yes.
They may reject it, but it's
The least,
done.
well, that would be, like I said, the least, the better in this case.
Okay. Thank you. Moving,
Yes,
I'm sorry,
Teresa,
Dolores, I just have a quick question. So that document that we received from the city clerk that had 2019 with all of the columns empty and the one from 2020, those were incorrect? Or was that just a form that we're supposed to use? What was that?
they provided us what they had in the past, what was submitted. They provided a blank form to us, to me, which a very simple document that we could have uploaded, updated and uploaded. We did not, but we uploaded our the detailed spreadsheet that we had with all that
Okay.
information.
So they're not going to come back and say, oh, well, you didn't use our form, so we're going to reject it. But
I
my-
don't think that they will,
Okay.
but if they do, then we'll deal with it.
Okay, and then the information they provided for 2019, why was it empty? We do have assets that had been filed in the past, right?
We did submit an inventory in the past. That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
You are.
Laura?
Yeah, so I actually have the same question Teresa has, is why they give us something blank from 2019. Because when I became president, Dunn sent me the what we have, meaning it had been filed. They had it, they sent it to me. Here, you're president now. So I don't know. I think it is something to do with the transition when the whole funding team left Dunn and went to the clerks, but Dunn was still handling the inventory, and at some point that switched too. So I'm guessing that's it, but let's just see what happens.
Let's move on.
Any other questions? No. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, item F, update on Jefferson Boulevard Greenbelt Street Tree Planting Maintenance Project. Discussion and action.
I will go first.
Okay.
Okay. So, hi, Mike. So with this issue, this is funding, as everyone knows, from last year. And then the MPG was submitted. And then we had California Green Works, was the organization that was going to do the work for it. The issue in front of us today is, are we going to counsel the NPG with California Green Works and then move on with this? So I asked Mike to come and to present his position, because my conversations with him is what I try to do with the people that we're working with, is let them know what recommendation I will put before the board. And I told Mike that I'm recommending that we cancel this NPG with California Green Works because I'm concerned that California Green Works doesn't have the funds to support it for the 3 years that's necessary. So, so that's the concern that we have. I would say that since that time, what Mike had sent me was, he sent me a grant information that he received from 2018, 2019. And that grant was supposed to go for 5 years. And Mike, I don't know all the details, so I'm just giving a quick overview of it, but it's supposed to go for like 5 years. And then my response to that information was that receiving a grant on document of an awarded grant does not necessarily answer our question about whether the organization has funds. It's more like a financial statement. I will also say that since that time, California Green Works, as of last week, has received the permits to start the work. Now, this project was supposed to start some time ago, but they finally got the permits of last week. And then I'm also concerned about I'm just concerned about the financial stability of California Greenworks to do this project. And my recommendation to the board, which the same as it has been for the last couple of months, is that we cancel this project with California Greenworks, and then we find another organization that can do it. And I asked Mike to come to share his thoughts about where he thinks things stand and where the project is at.
Well, Gregory, we're actually coming up on our 20th anniversary
Mhm.
as an organization. Well, in fact, January the 7th will be 20 years.
Mhm.
Anyway, our focus is a nonprofit. Our mission has been to provide environmental education programs in urban schools since our inception. Also to revitalize urban open space is another one of our mission goals, and to advocate for green economic development since we've been a nonprofit organization. We just completed, this year, we've been working, I think, for the last couple of years on Hyde Park Boulevard. And we just completed 1.8 mile on both sides of that boulevard, a greenbelt project, where we put in arnold pear trees. What did we do over there? We put in desert willows, sweet gum, golden rain trees, and just to add a little color, some crepe myrtles. So that project, as I mentioned, has completed, and we're looking at Jefferson Boulevard. We received a grant through our resources board to do that project, and of course, have the funding to do that work. Since I think the beginning, it could have been the beginning of this year when you all called, we've been out Boulevard doing ground truthing. The city has approved our Form F to plant trees, and we've found the locations on that site where trees need to go based on what the city's requirements are. The city has approved the trees that we're planning to plant on that site. We've been out there countless times doing outreach with the businesses and the neighbors that are the neighborhood on that block, on that stretch of that community. Oh, what else? We've met with local community members and local businesses over there as well. In fact, I think we've made about 3 to 4 visits doing outreach to do this project, to do this effort. We have our contractors already in place. We have our tree order in place. We have our date to plant, which is January 14th, MLK Day of Service. We're all ready to go. As far as the project costs, this is a relatively small project, really. It's only talking about 25 trees to put in the ground. So we're all good on our end. As far as the money that we're going to provide, those dollars would go toward tree purchase. If you don't choose to support it, I understand, but we do have the funding to do the work.
Okay.
And Greg, we're not taking out a loan here. We're just planting trees.
Laura, thank you, Mike. Laura, and then Teresa.
Yeah. Couple of things, and as you know, I've been going back and forth, but at this point, I would not vote. I mean, I wouldn't take this forward to the board. I would just retain the MPG because so much work has been done. So that's where I'm, find myself thinking. But Mike, I wanted to ask a question. Have you also received the $2,500 Lonnie grant for this project yet?
No.
Okay.
We've received, let me show you in terms of funding we've received on this, the NFL contacted me with sometime in the fall of this year,
Mhm.
and they gave us a $4,000 grant for this project. We received, I think, what, $25,000 or so from the gas company on this project, Craig. Yes, we could use the money, and it would be great if we could use the funds. We could use the funds to plant the trees because we have a 3-year run. But the project itself is not going to run us, I don't think, more than 25,000 to
Right.
do over the next 3 years. So
So, and Mike, you
we
had
have that.
also,
We have that already.
yeah, Mike,
We
you
don't
had
need to
also
show your
mentioned,
banks. I mean, I'm and a little bit upset that you would ask me for my financial statement.
Well, don't be upset, Michael. I said,
I'm
one of
just,
my,
I mean,
one
this
of
is
my-
like one of those crab in the barrel kind of things.
so.
We're out here, we've been in business for the last 20 years, Gregory Jackson. 20 years. I've done a lot of good in this community.
okay,
So,
guys.
I have questions.
Wait,
too.
wait. I wasn't done. This is a little back and forth between persons. We shouldn't be doing that. All of us should be, I guess, just to make it calm, addressing the chair, who is Dolores. So let's do that.
We're not
Instead
finished.
of me addressing you, Mike, but I'm going to ask a broad question that I think only Mike can answer. Sorry. At the recent environmental committee, UNNC's environmental committee meeting, I think 2 months ago, maybe 3, Mike also had indicated that he's going to be working, if this is still the case, with the LA Conservation Corps on some of the
Yes.
maintenance and watering.
Yeah,
So-
for the most part, Laura, they have all of our contracts that they handle in
Mhm.
terms of the maintenance and the planting. Our part of the project is project management.
Right. So again, I myself have gone a little back and forth because we're getting back and forth information, but I do feel that this project is so far along that I wouldn't withdraw our MPG. That's me. I'm going to take my hand down for now.
Teresa, thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. I have some questions for Mike, if I can direct them to him, Dolores.
Yes, ma'am.
Mine are much more specific. So what tree species are we talking about?
We're giving you what you asked for.
Which is the Australian willow and the Brisbane box?
Yes. We have, I think it's, I don't have the count in front of me, but I think it's 12 and 13.
Okay,
So,
and then that's good. And then my other question is, I'd like to know how you are preparing the sites, but I guess if you're having LACC do it, are they going to prepare these tree wells? I mean,
yes,
okay, this is what I would like to see. Before the trees are planted, the tree wells need to be prepared. The soil needs to be amended or needs to be dug up so that when the trees are planted, that they have a healthy start. My other question is, what happens, this contract we're just going to give you the 6,000 or 7,000. What happens in year 2 and the trees start to die? What happens right now? Hold on, Mike, let me just finish. Let me just finish. Right now, you're saying you have the money, but we're concerned about the long term. You've been in business for 20 years. You could go out of business.
We'll have to replace that tree.
Okay, so this is what I'd like to see a legal document that says that if a tree dies during this 3-year period, we will take responsibility and we will replace it. Because I'm going to because I'm now the tree liaison for the UNNC. And starting with this project, I will go out once a week and I'm going to look and evaluate every single tree. I have my my water meter and I'm going to be putting it in, seeing if there's a sufficient amount of water. I'm going to look at the quality of the tree and the health of the tree. And if the trees are going to die or they're not being maintained, I need to know what our legal recourse is, because I'm going to be on the phone with the city clerk or with Greg or anybody on this board saying, these people are not taking care of these trees. And we gave them money and Greg was right. They let us down.
Well, call me first though.
Okay.
Allow me to fix it.
Okay, thank you, Teresa.
We haven't lost any trees at this point. The projects that we've put on the ground, they're still growing.
I have two.
More than
questions.
happy, Teresa, to meet you out on one of our sites.
Okay, well, I would bring Greg, and then there was another lady, I think Lizzie and Helen were also very involved with this project before I came on board. They might want to be involved too. Thank you.
You said that the proposal that was presented to us was to buy trees. It was my understanding that it was to get the trees as well as water and maintain those trees for 3 years. Was that not the agreement?
For $6,000, you're not going to be able to do that, but we could definitely.
Okay, but isn't that what you told us in the beginning? Or am I
It's
incorrect
not
in
enough
that?
money to cover it,
Right.
Dolores. That wouldn't be enough money to cover it. It'd go toward it, but it wouldn't be enough money to cover that.
Right.
Wait, what? What, Laura? I thought it was my understanding when they gave the presentation to us that it was to get the trees and they were to maintain those trees for 3 years.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I think Dolores had addressed that to me. Yes, the overarching project is to acquire the trees, plant the trees, then water and maintain them for 3 years. And honestly,
Yeah.
with this drought, 6 years would be better, but our money will barely cover, our money would cover, if you can keep looking at parsing it many different ways, it would cover about 1 year of watering. If the tree acquisition is to be used with our funds, then I think it won't take $7,000 or $6,000 by all those trees. I mean,
No.
that's less. So some of the money would go towards watering. That was really why I was asking if the Lonnie grant had come their way as well, because I think the Lonnie grant would cover the acquisition, then our money could cover the watering, which I think is how we were thinking about it. That this project has had so many twists and turns. Essentially, for 3 years, to have a tree planted, maintained, and watered, one tree for 3 years is about $1,000. We have figured that out on the KYCC one. So we figured that out. So $6,000 or $7,000 supports 6 or 7 trees, and they're doing 25. I mean, you can parse it many different ways, but our funds would never have done all 25 trees for 3 years.
And the second question is, does your organization still have its nonprofit status currently?
We are, Dolores, we are underneath, fiscal sponsorship. That's what we're underneath. We've been under fiscal sponsorship now for the last, 4 months.
And that is because?
What does that mean?
Fiscal sponsorship means that our organization accepts our funding through a third party. For us, it's just a lot smoother operation. And it just works a lot better. I don't have to worry about that at all. So they handle the money. We focus on the work.
That's kind of not what I was thinking that meant.
That's not.
What that means.
I could send you.
Hold on, please. What that means to me is that, when I was working, when companies went into that kind of sponsorship, it's like a receivership. Something went wrong with their management, and so the other overall company had to come in and manage it for them because they weren't doing it properly. So that's why I asked if you still had your nonprofit status.
Okay, so no, that's not the case. We use a fiscal sponsor because it's just for me a better way to go. I just rather have another organization oversee the funding. We receive the funding from them. We focus more on the operational side.
Thank you, Paul, and then Teresa.
There's a lot of things to say here. One, Dolores, I do agree with you. My understanding was that this contract was for planting the trees and then taking care of them for 3 years. It's unclear to me. Does this mean then, like in year 2, we'll have another funding request, or is the money's coming from these other organizations that are going to be paying for this presumed additional cost above and beyond the 6,000 or 7,000 we're approving to take care of these trees? And then I think also, yeah, we're a little guy here and we're only, granting a small amount in your eyes, but we want to know whether an organization is going to be around in 2 years or 3 years. And so for us, it's a very valid request to just want to know what the financial position is of the company, that they're liquid enough, there'll be monies there to do the work we're asking of you. So to me, that seems like a fair question. And then I guess to me also, the nature of how the company is being managed does sound more to me like it's in receivership or something isn't going well. So unless you can define better for us, or I don't know, point me to somewhere where I can go do some research on what that means, I'm not going to walk away from this meeting and think that the company is in some form of, not outright BK, but like it's being managed in a way to help it not go under. So those are my observations.
Thank you, Paul. Teresa?
Thank you, Dolores. I don't know if you can answer this or not, Mike, but when we give you money, because you're going through a third party, are they going to be taking a portion of it, like 10% or 20% of the actual funds that we're going to be presenting to you?
Yes, they receive their portion. It's a management fee, and we receive the balance.
What percentage is that?
Oh, geez, I don't recall what it's not. It's just a nominal fee to my knowledge.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not enough to where it's going to hurt what we need to do. The cost for this project is under $25,000 over 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Okay,
Are there
Madam
any
Vice,
other questions?
no, Madam Vice President, I wanted Mike to come so that he could share his thoughts. But then once he departs, I think we need to continue our discussion on this topic.
Well, Greg, I don't think we can say he must depart for us to continue the discussion. This is a public meeting.
Okay.
You
And
didn't raise your
I
hand,
do
Laura.
see,
Laura, can you please raise your hand and direct your comments to Dolores, please? Thank you.
Are there any other questions with regards to this item
Yeah, Madam Vice President, I just wanted to recap that
or comments?
Again, the initial concern came from a conversation that I had with Mike some time ago, concerning the 3 years, the financial stability of his organization, and if they had the money to support the project for 3 years. I do know that our funding of projects is year by year, but when we chose California Green Works, my understanding is that we chose them because they indicated that they had financial strength to support the project for 3 years. I know Madam President has said that there's a lot been done on this project. I disagree with that statement because the project was supposed to be about finished by now. So I don't agree that a lot has been done on the project. I am concerned about the company being in, I use the word receivership, but on the financial management, to me, that is an indication that the company is having financial problems. And that's why they're in that. That's not something that I believe that a company chooses. The fact, he used the example of the Hyde Park Boulevard project. Members, I haven't seen the trees in that community, but members in that community told me that those trees are dying, or dead. I'm also concerned that if the MLK Day is the day that the project will start, are we using volunteers to do the work during that time, or the actual professional staff that to do that? And also back to my original point, my understanding is that our funds were primarily be used to provide watering for the trees for that year. So again, my recommendation will be that we cancel this NPG with California Greenworks because I have grave concerns about their ability to do the work.
Well, I want to address your concern about Hyde Park Boulevard. There aren't any trees that are dead on that street. I'd like to meet you out there.
Okay.
There are no trees dead out there. I mean, where did you get that?
Okay, let's go.
I mean, there are no trees that are dead out there. I go by there quite often. There's a lot of other things that are maybe on. There's a lot of trash and things like that that we need to work on, and the illegal dumping in that space. We've been trying to get the city to do something about that. But in terms of the tree and the health of the trees are fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Laura?
Yeah, we're in a catch-22, Dolores, and all. Mike has the permits, or I should say Cal Greenworks has the permits to plant the trees. So it's not as simple as we canceling the MPG. Cal Greenworks might go ahead and implement the project. And what that would mean for us is we lose the money because it's encumbered to the Jefferson Greenbelt project. It wasn't encumbered broadly to tree planting and maintenance, unlike the one we call Washington Boulevard KYCC, which had a broader encumbrance. This was specific, or is specific. It's the Jefferson Boulevard Greenbelt. So I feel I'd rather just continue to support it and wing and a prayer and take Teresa up on her offer to look once a week and be the person who's really monitoring, because I don't feel, remember, we were told by the city clerk funding team that we would have to, in effect, keep the project alive and reassign I'll call it a vendor for lack of a better phrase, but we couldn't do that when Cal Greenworks is the entity with the permits. And it would have to be now. We can't drag this another fiscal year either. So we are ourselves in a catch-22. I do also, I do understand the concern about the financial viability of, of any project after a couple of years of pandemic or any nonprofit organization. Fiscal sponsorship is actually quite common, as Mike said, but I'm not sure the different circumstances for different entities, but I do know that that's a fairly common thing. I mean, a common model, I guess is a better way to say it. But I feel we're at that wing and a prayer kind of status, and we just need to release the funds because we're going to lose them anyway. Let's maybe hope that we don't lose them and that this works. Again, that's my opinion. You guys don't need to share it. I just don't see a good path forward for flipping it out and trying to find someone else when they've got the permits.
We have the money
Okay.
to do this job. That's not the issue. This is a very small project.
Yeah, Mike, and that's not our
It
issue.
may
It's
be
not my
small to
issue
you,
either.
Mike, but it's not small to us.
Right.
It's not small to the community. It's not small to the neighbors on that street, okay?
Okay, I didn't intend.
Teresa?
Okay.
Thank you,
Teresa,
Dolores. First, Mike, yes, in December, UFD just issued the permits to Cal Greenworks. But Mike, if we decide to not go with you and to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is,
Redo
but
the BACs for
yeah,
another-
redo the BAC and cancel this contract with you. Why would you not, in goodwill, go to UFD and ask them to cancel the permits to your organization? I mean, why would you still keep the permit and put us in a position where we can't plant trees?
We can plant the trees.
But I'm asking you, Mike, if we decide to cancel the contract we have with you, why would you continue to hold on to those permits for 2 years? You know, it's good for 2 years. So you'd be saying to us, I'm mad at you because you canceled my MPG
Yeah.
and now you can't plant trees for 2 years.
I don't think he said that.
No, I'm asking you, why would you not release the your situation with UFD, those permits, and allow us to hire someone else?
We have the funding to do the work.
Right.
You're not answering my question, Mike, but okay, thank you very much.
Laura,
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, we're not hiring anybody. We converted this funding to an MPG from a community improvement project. That's where we have the issues with the city clerk. We can't demand performance standards. We can't have a contract. I mean, I would dearly love to say, let's not release the funds until the trees are planted. I would, like to do that, but we were told we can't do that. We can't have performance standards. So, again, it's not as simple as Mike. When I say he's got the permits and he's got the whatever else is going on, it also evidences he did the work up to this point. So we're not going to be able to find another entity and get the project done this fiscal year. So we'll lose the funds. Greg, it has to be this fiscal year, and you know it because we all went to that meeting. So it doesn't matter. Why don't you just do a motion? You know how I'm going to vote. We know how Greg is going to vote. We don't know how the other three are going to vote. We need to move off this agenda item. So, I know what Greg wants.
This is Dolores's meeting. Dolores will set the tempo and determine when it's time to move on from a particular item.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Teresa, we don't have to. Greg, you had one last comment, and then I'm going to ask for a motion.
Well, Madam Vice President, I don't, I'm very clear on my position on this. Never mind, because I don't want to, when someone says something and I don't think that's a true statement, I don't want to say that's not a true statement. So, no comment. Let's move on.
All right. I am not in a good conscience to continue to support this, but I don't want to be the one to make that final decision. I think that the full board needs to have a discussion about this, and the full board makes a decision on it. So I would entertain a motion to move this forward to the board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Teresa? No? Okay, ayes have it. We're moving this forward to the board for a final decision. Next on the agenda is item G, board member attendance and training.
Oh, wait a minute. There's two parts to this.
Oh, what?
Wasn't it two parts to this thing?
Let me see.
What?
Status on the report of the overall project, discuss concerns regarding the MPG, Raquel Greenworks, discuss possible recommendation to cancel MPG, confirm UNNC committee commitment on the project.
Yeah, I guess.
We discussed all that.
Okay, I guess the other part was that when Laura was saying that we couldn't find another organization that could do this, that's we can find another organization that can do this project in this year. So that's a major, because remember one of our discussions was to look at 2 BACs, and
I remember that.
And I
But
drafted
all of
2
that can be brought to the attention of the full.
Okay. 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 All right. I'll lower my hand then.
Well, again, thanks for the opportunity this evening to present our case. And of course, we do have the funding to do this work. We've been funded to do this work. But it's entirely up to you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for coming. All right. Dolores, you still here? Hello,
Oh,
hello.
did Dolores just go blank?
I see her name.
No, she fell off.
Alrighty then.
Um,
That's just great.
okay, let's take, I'm sure she's gonna try and rejoin. So let's just take a minute because the next item is hers. Correct?
The next item
Is hers.
is
Yeah,
attendance and training, yeah.
yeah. Unless you have anything to,
Nope. Sure don't.
okay.
Should we move to H and then come back to G when she joins us?
Yeah, but I'm still working a little bit on that anyway, but that's okay. Isn't that the agenda items? I have to
Minnie.
say, we're
Yes.
so early in the month and it's so weird with the holidays. I'm not positive what all the agenda items are, but I'll share my screen with what I know currently. It's not a lot other than the usual stuff. So can you see? So agenda items. I know it's very short, but don't believe it. It won't be that short. And I do see that Raheem is here now. So what I don't know is if he's planning to show us the updated logo at that meeting. I think Raheem's on this. And I think.
Can I just ask you
What?
also, I know this is a short list, but
Oh, it's never going to be that short.
no, I know, but when do you think you will have the full list? Are you required to have it during this meeting? The full
No,
list?
I mean, really what this, it would be impossible to have it this early, to be honest.
I don't- Go ahead.
Here's what we don't know. Will we be appointing, remember we're having a special meeting next week for the public safety and doing the emergency. Will that yield something that's like a chair, ideally, that we can appoint? Will that happen? I don't know. There's the homelessness liaison committee is discussing a possible community impact statement on something. I mean, I just submitted their agenda. The planning and zoning committee is taking a look at a council motion 2 nights, on Wednesday regarding abandoned oil wells. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know yet that we would have normally known by now if we're going to do these community impact statements, for example. And Teresa, I think you and Dennis had one as well, potentially for the January meeting, but I don't have real knowledge of that yet. So what we can do, certainly we can set, next Wednesday, so after the Tuesday meeting, I should have, because then all of these committee meetings will have happened. We can I'll send an email out to executive committee about, what it now looks like for January 6th. But the big open possibility, and that's that last one down there, possibly the Murphy oil drilling compliance case. Much more likely the February meeting. They will be having a public hearing in February on it's the oil drilling site at Adams and Gramercy. And they have serious compliance issues that seem to, I've got 4 inches of paper I haven't looked at yet.
What are we talking about?
The agenda. If that's
items.
on the agenda along with Cal Greenworks, you guys better hope there's nothing else on the agenda. That's
Okay, I just don't want,
items.
I just don't want to.
This was item H. We're talking about that. So Laura, you're going to give it to me next week. I'll just leave it open
Sure.
while I'm doing the minutes, and you'll provide me.
Right. And if anybody else has, again, I thought I had seen in the attendees that Raheem had joined. I can't see anything while I'm sharing, so I'm going to stop the share. So what I know on the communications committee agenda this week, they're really looking at the logo, for example. So is that coming to the board? I don't know until after the meeting.
Yeah, Raheem's here. Okay,
This is
I think
Paul. I have a
Paul's talking.
question. How can we continue this meeting without Dolores being
We have
present?
quorum,
Okay.
but can somebody text her and see what's going on?
yeah, her electricity went out.
Oh,
And
well,
so
that's not
she's trying to
good.
get back on. It came back on, but she's trying to log back in. Mine blinked also, but it didn't go out. Okay, let's go on to the next item then. Committee stuff. Yes? Yes? Can we? Thank you.
We can. So yes, I'll commit to that. And on the board member attendance and training, I will just give a quick thing. So far, the Dunn has not provided the Cornerstone credentials and login information to our two newest board members who are emailing me constantly to find out when they're going to get it. And I'm emailing Dunn constantly to find out when they're going to get it. Just FYI.
Well, one of them told me they was getting on today.
Pardon?
One of them told me they was getting on today. Get on this afternoon.
Okay, Dolores is back, coming
Yeah.
back. There she is.
Okay, that's a good meeting, y'all. Okay, see y'all guys next week.
Okay, I did pay my bill, okay? I did pay
No,
my.
mine blinked too. My power blinked too. Mine sure did.
That was weird. It came
Yeah.
right back on.
Yeah, mine did too.
Okay, well, we're at committee reports.
No, actually, we're on G.
We're
We're
on
gonna
G if you have something to add, yes.
Oh, yes, everybody, as far as the attendance concerned, everybody is Scooby-Doo with a couple that are hit and miss, but not anything serious. The only thing that we have is Carlos Currick, that's still outstanding with his ethics training. I did get a response back from Rosters and from Kyle Stone saying that he has not, his ethics training expired in March, I think his email said. And that as far as next steps is concerned, he said that our NEA, is that what you call Gibson, would give us advice on the next steps. I sent Gibson an email asking if he would attend tonight's meeting to give us further guidance, and I did not get a response back from him.
Busy people.
So,
Those are busy people.
They have hired, and in the process of hiring 4 new NEAs. 2 are on board and 2 are on their way.
Okay.
So the workload should lessen. I'm not making a comment about if we change NEAs, but all the NEAs will have fewer neighborhood councils.
Moving on.
So I have sent Carlos a reminder, and then I sent him an email, a reminder email short, and then a long email regarding his attendance, and notified him that I was sending his status to Dunn, and with the hopes that he would update his ethics training prior to us getting a response back from Dunn, but I have not heard back from him either. So his status is still up in the air. I can send him another letter via email if that's what the board wishes me to do. What do y'all want me to do? Laura.
Well, it turns out our bylaws say that they shall be removed, but then doesn't give us the mechanism on how we do that.
That's what Gibson was supposed to give us.
Right.
So I guess we put this off until January till we hear from Gibson. In the meantime, do you want me to send him another email or just leave it be, or what?
Well, the question would be, this would be another thing, would it be on the agenda or not? I mean, if we hear from Gibson in 3 days that we can take an action of removal, do we want to go ahead and do that for January 6th?
And as far as his attendance goes, he's been attending the governing board meetings Carlos, where is he? He was absent at the December meeting, but he was present at the November and October meeting and the special meeting we had in October. So his attendance is okay. It's just that and he's taken the other trainings with the exception of the anti-bias, because that's new to him. I did in fact remind him of that, that we had to take that. But as far as his ethics goes, he's just not responding and has not taken it.
Okay.
So we got crickets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, guys, would this be one of the maybe agenda items or not for January?
Just like to get on the phone and say, dude, do you want to be a board member or not? Please take your training. Well, I don't understand why we have to beg people to do what's required. This is an honor to be on this board. That's how I look at it. It's an honor to serve my community and try to advocate for all the stuff that they would help them. So I don't understand. He lives right up the street. I just want to go knock on the door and say, Carlos, what's up? So I don't know. I don't know.
Not only that, a couple of stakeholders in that area have called me and asked me what's going on with him. So I don't know.
Let's move it forward to the board with, give him one final letter. I guess we can also wait to hear what Gibson has to say, but if he's not going to do his job, then, and part of doing the job is taking all these trainings. Yes, there are a lot of them, but that's part of it. So I say we take it to the board and move forward with his,
Are you making a motion there, Teresa?
Oh, I've already made one for tonight. I don't know if,
Then I move to make a motion that we just move it to the board and for, I guess, a vote, and then.
What do you mean a removal of Carlos Carrot for lack of ethics training?
Correct. As a potential agenda item, depending on how Dunn comes back or Gibson comes back to us with whatever he says.
Okay. So you making the motion? We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And Greg thirded.
Oh, Greg, I'll put you down a second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm putting this one in the chat, by the way,
Okay.
just for record keeping. Who seconded it? Was it Greg?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we can move on. I'm just typing it away and putting it in the chat for that record.
All right. Next on the agenda is item H, upcoming
We did it.
board agenda. Oh, you did that already?
Yeah, we did that one.
Okay. Committee reports, president's report, discussion and possible action.
I have concerns about committee reports. Madam Vice?
Okay.
Okay, so we have these spots for these committee reports, and it's, as you're saying, crickets. So I don't quite understand. Are the committees meeting? And if they meet, shouldn't they at least say we met and these are the things that a quick summary of this is what we discussed, and are they keeping minutes, and are they sending the minutes in to be posted, and are they recording the minutes via Zoom to be put on our YouTube channel? So I guess my first question is, can we reinforce the requirements for the committee chairs to give a report of their meeting? And even if they didn't have a meeting that month, which I find interesting that they don't have one, but they have one, at least say no report. And where are their minutes at for these different committees? That greatly concerns me, because to me, that's the majority of the work should be what they're doing in their committees.
It has been my understanding that give a report at the board, full board meeting? Is that what you're speaking of?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Teresa?
Thank you, Dolores. I agree with Greg on this. I think every meeting at the board meeting, all the committees should be listed. And if, just go down the list, outreach. Oh, we're doing ciclovia and blah, blah, blah. Or outreach, we don't have anything to report this month. Okay, then you go to planning and zoning. Oh, we did three CISs, or we're gonna do a CIS, or blah, 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 blah. Just go to each one. And then that way we have a fuller understanding as a board, what's happening in the other committees, the other aspects of our board. I'd like to be, I mean, I try to sit in every meeting so I know what's going on, but if it can be presented, even if they don't have anything, I mean, sometimes you're just not going to have stuff, but for the chair to come and say, this is what we're trying to do, or this is what we did do, I think it would be helpful.
So do you want in the future to have each committee listed on the agenda and then call on them to say yay or nay whether they have a report?
Listen, I'm the first one to say that the meetings are too long, but I do think that it would be helpful. But this is a discussion. I'd like to hear what you think, Dolores, or Paul or Laura have to think about it.
Laura and then Lizzie.
3 of our committee chairs currently are not board members. So to ask non-board members to come to every board meeting.
It's once a month.
No, but they're not board members. They might not be board members for a lot of different reasons. One of those reasons might be they have another meeting on the first Thursday of the month, but they want to be involved in, they chair another committee. So the question is every month, or at least a minimum of a written report every month and a quarterly presence. I mean, in other words, I think realistically, we're having trouble having enough committee chairs from within the board. We're happy to have non-board members as committee chairs, but then to expect them to always be at a board meeting is like, well, then why aren't they on the board? So, but a written report would be fine. I want to assure Greg that, trust me, and Teresa and I are at most of these meetings. They're meeting pretty much every month if they're supposed to be. I mean, our bigger problem is the committees that don't exist, not the ones that do exist. So, I just don't think it should be a mandatory monthly for the non-board members, but then becomes weird because then why is it mandatory monthly for the board members? So I don't know how to figure that out. Maybe a monthly written report would be fine and a quarterly visit.
Okay, I just want to bring to everybody's attention that it is now 9 o'clock and we still have items on the agenda. Lizzie and then Paul.
Yes, so as far as the outreach committee meeting, we don't meet monthly, we meet bi-monthly, but there is an agenda, there is a recording, and I always make sure to have minutes. I know for a fact that not all committees are issuing minutes. So I'm not sure. I don't think the minutes are located anywhere yet, not on the website, but I commit myself to do that from now on. Thank you.
So I think that if there are reports that they should be submitted to our secretary, is that right, Teresa?
Sure, and then I would present, if I would present it under my report or during the committee report, I would.
Submit them to you just for the record.
Oh, just for the record, yes.
Who posts all that stuff?
Yeah, well,
listen, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if we're going to require reports, then the question is it monthly or quarterly? I mean, in other words, we have some questions to answer. I think it's so late in this evening that I'm not sure how much we should do tonight. But if they're written reports, we also have to post them in the Google Drive. That's basically the new rules of the game. But that's not a problem. I mean, it's really easy.
I would like to table this.
Wait, Lizzie.
My concern is that every single board meeting, governing board meeting, we are so out of time by the time the committees are ready to give any updates that people are thankful that we have none. So
Yeah.
I don't think a report is just more work, more bureaucracy. So I
Yeah.
think if we chairs commit ourselves to an agenda, proper agenda, the recording and the minutes, we should be fine. And people can go to the minutes and look. If there's anything really important, then we announce it, sure, at the board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, let me go with Paul and then Laura.
I just want to say that I agree with Lizzie that, you know, in terms of knowing what's going on with these committees, it's important. I do feel like a little bit in the dark a lot of times of what's happening. But the fact that we have agendas point us, tell us what's being addressed, what they're focused on. If those were, you know, more readily available. I mean, I read them in the emails when I see them being sent out. To me, that's kind of telling me what's going on, if I want to. So I'm happy with that. But in terms of maybe a more regular reporting, I feel like it does add already to the bureaucracy of, you know, what's being done now.
Right, it's especially, there should be some kind of communication to the board or attached to the agenda, especially if a committee is coming to the full board wanting money for something or a presentation on something or whatever, and we have not heard from that committee. So I agree that some form of communication from those committees, whether if they come to the board meeting, which I agree drags out the board meeting, or submit some sort of a report and submit it to Teresa to be attached to the agenda or upload it to Google, whatever that thing is that I can't get into, whatever, some sort of acknowledgement. Laura.
Okay, so as most of us know, what the board has asked for our agendas is to move the items around. So sometimes committee reports are near the top and more often they're nearer to the bottom, right? So that if they're going to be a visitor, they should be near the top, but we should juggle. So what we should just do is commit to having committee reports near the top at least once every 3 months, right? So then, you know, because we're moving the items around. We're not keeping everything in the same order every time. So, you know, why don't we just do that? Why don't we do for January, committee reports are near the top, and we'll let every committee chair know that they should try to be at that meeting and go from there and see if you're more comfortable. And Greg, by the way, yes, every single one of the committee meetings is recorded. And I think we also, I saw the email from Teresa saying that she's committed to getting all of them on the web, but I believe we had actually decided maybe not to throw the committee Zoom meetings up on the web right away. But that's a whole other discussion. But they are all recorded. They are definitely all recorded. The chats are recorded, and we'll just say that we need to make the minutes. And if the minutes are the chat, so be it. Meaning, in other words, if the minutes are the motions that are in the chat, that's at least complying with the requirements for minutes. We'll just formalize that.
Do we need to have a motion to continue this meeting because it is after 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to continue it because I agree with what Laura said, but maybe
Motion-
it could just be
hold on.
quarterly that, oh, sorry.
Motion to continue the meeting for another 30 minutes or
Ugh.
hour, 45 minutes?
No,
What?
no, I want to go. No, seriously, no.
30 minutes.
Can't do
I
it.
thought our meeting was going till 10 o'clock.
Now the
No,
agenda says 9.
9.
9.
No, and I can't do it.
30
I
minutes.
can't keep going on too much longer either.
Okay, so another 15 minutes then, and you guys hurry up and keep your opinion to yourself.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, do we need a second? A second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Reluctant.
motion carried. Okay. What were you saying, Teresa? I'm sorry, and keep it quick.
Nothing, Laura. Never mind.
All right, President's report. Laura.
No, President doesn't have much of a report. She's really, her mind is elsewhere. I truly don't have much of a report. We won't need to talk about redistricting. We're done. We won't, you know, I don't have a president's report.
Okay,
Although,
committee.
wait, I'm so sorry. Teresa asked me to do something under President's report, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay, so why are you bringing it up?
Does Teresa remember what you asked me to do?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, next item. B.
Okay, well, Greg is starting his and I'm gonna look into emails just in case, okay?
Okay, committee administration and records discussion.
That's what we just talked about.
Okay, secretary's report.
Okay, so we have 3 meeting minutes. Do you want to do them now or do we want to postpone it again, Dolores?
No, let's get them done.
Okay, can I share, Laura? Am I able to share?
Yeah, because I never undid you. I think, aren't
Okay,
you still a co-host?
yes, I believe I am.
I
So-
remembered what it is you asked me about.
Okay, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Liability insurance for UNNC.
Oh, that's right.
So
But maybe we
Greg,
should add that.
it's a quick question for Greg to investigate, or I can, or both. Are we able to purchase annual, year-round UNNC liability insurance? Is the question. And there's a number of reasons. One of them was that Teresa, another neighborhood council kind of got stuck when they couldn't do.
Oh, yes. A neighborhood council in the valley wanted to do a butterfly garden in a local park, in a rec, or an LA City park. And they were told they could not do anything, plant or any milkweed or do anything to do this butterfly exhibit because they did not have liability insurance. So they were unable to do it. So I just started thinking about, do we have that? Do we have it for events? I don't know what our situation is.
So if the officers agree, we can look into that.
I'd like to look into
No,
it.
Greg.
Oh,
Yeah, I just want to make sure what the task is. Find out if we can have annual liability insurance and the cost of it.
The cost of it, because for example, West Adams Heritage does
Right.
have annual liability insurance, $1 million policy. We can add the city to it as a 1-day,
Okay.
also insured, a certificate. Sometimes we have to pay for an endorsement, whatever. But can
have
the
that by-
neighborhood council acquire such insurance? That's the question.
Got it. I'll have
And
that
can
information.
I add on there, is it the neighborhood council itself or each board member being insured?
No, that would be a different kind of insurance. The event, it's a liability insurance that mostly covers, somebody breaks their leg while they're doing something at a
Related to
UNNC
event.
event.
Right.
Okay, fine.
okay. So these are the meeting minutes from November the 16th. All of the meeting minutes I have put in the agenda packet, and I'm going to try to bring them up as we're talking. But this was the first one there, so this is why I brought it up. I'll just scroll through it. There is one meeting minute that there was a discrepancy that Laura pointed out, and I want to discuss that, but I don't think it's on this one. I don't know why I have so many blue lines.
What's that background noise?
It's not me, maybe someone's chair.
My bones. I'm cracking.
Dolores, while we're doing this, how did that log sheet that I gave you, have you been able to use that?
Oh,
Keep it-
yeah. Great, thanks.
Okay. So I make a motion that we approve these meeting minutes,
For November 2nd,
November the 16th.
16th.
yes, second,
I second.
all in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you.
Any, no opposition, seeing none, motion passed.
Okay,
So we're doing October.
yes, I have to Just give me a moment to share.
October 19th in the 24th.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to the next one. I'm not sure which one this is.
October 24th.
Oh, this was the special meeting we had to discuss doing a CIS regarding the redistricting.
Was it the redistricting or was it the,
Or was it the whole thing?
no,
to
the
do with,
removal of Mark Ridley
MRT?
Thomas? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay,
Okay, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 24th.
Second,
all in
Okay.
favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Seeing
thank
no
you.
opposition, motion carried.
Okay.
And then October 19th.
Okay, just a second. In these meeting minutes, I thought Laura agreed to allow the chat to be open, but she said she did not. And I listened to the recording and she was correct. She did not. Here, it's in this item here, agreement to open the chat room with consensus that it may be necessary to return to former format. She said she didn't say that. I listened and it was, the correct thing was Dolores wants the table until next meeting, find out the ins and outs, and Laura will check the protocols with Dunn, who, as we know, just got back to him. Got back to her. Gibson just got back to her. So other than that, it's, that was the only correction.
Motion to approve
As amended.
Yeah,
as amended.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Thank
Aye.
you very much.
Okay, seeing no opposition, motion carried. Update on preparation of prior minutes. Teresa?
So I think this is more of a Greg issue. I don't know what we're doing with the minutes. Greg would like a written minutes. I feel like the Zoom meetings, once they're uploaded, would be sufficient, but I don't know. I guess open for discussion with Greg's point of view.
So may I?
Yes.
Yeah, so to me, yes, it's very convenient for the committee or for the group to say that you can just look at the Zoom, but that's an hour or 30 minutes looking at it. And to me, the old fashioned way of if you have a committee or you, well, you have mostly folks on committees, the committees should have some form of written summary of their meeting to post so someone can look at one document, even if it's, these are the two things that we did. So yes, I would like for us to encourage and assist and help our people create written minutes, because that's a lot easier for the public to review.
Are you talking about the old minutes, Greg, or the going
No,
forward?
if it would, no, I don't know, going backwards. No, too bad for going backwards.
Okay.
It's just moving forward. Encourage
Yeah.
them to take some notes that we could post about what's going on with
But
the
the-
different.
I'm sorry to
Item.
interrupt, Greg. The item is update on preparation of prior minutes.
It's
I don't-
it's the
I don't
year
really-
of, it's the year we don't have the minutes, Greg, and Teresa's
What do you mean?
opinion, which I share, is that now that we're uploading the Zoom, and since Dunn said the Zoom is sufficient, I think we need to just do that and
Let me go
move
to the-
on.
Let me go to the agenda item. No, I have no preference on that. My thoughts were just on future minutes.
Future
that-
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
Let's see if I can share this time. let's see.
And we have gone past the 15 minutes, so can you make it quick?
Yeah, can you see, can everyone see this?
Not
Can you-
yet. No.
Okay. Let's come back over here. Let's go to. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the biggest thing is this amount here, this amount that's in red. That it's, as we discussed this earlier. This appears to be coming out of this year's budget, but it's from last year's budget. And then half of this, $3,000 for our photographer. Half of this came from last year. And then the other thing, the neighborhood purpose grant for Sons Matter, that has been canceled. So let me stop sharing that and let me see what other documents I want to share with you.
Did we pay our person that was in question?
The other person, no, I didn't receive a request to do that. So no, we haven't paid him yet.
Are we going to?
As soon as they say they want to pay him, yeah, we should pay him as soon as they say they want to, but they haven't said they wanted to. So I just brought it up because I wanted to be fair to the graphic designer also.
Well, we need to get our people paid.
Yes, but
So,
We'll have an invoice this week.
yeah.
Okay,
so-
okay.
Yeah. So when the invoice comes in, then we can pay it.
all right.
And this is the other one that I want to show you. Okay, share. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So with this, again, I just highlighted this amount here because it appears that we are over in that area, but we will reconcile that. With that being off, this amount is off also. Nothing significant about our budget. I guess eventually we will need to move money from the community improvement projects to other areas, the $6,000, maybe to other neighborhood purpose grants. Graphic designer, we're going to pay that. Photography, pay that. Events, I don't think we will do the fire station. We had that earmarked for a while. I don't know if we're going to do the walk on Washington. We need to talk about that, or any of these events. These are event items. We need to talk about that. Perhaps one day, maybe next month. Are we going to do any events? If not, we can move that money to other areas. Website, that's going fine. E-blast is going fine. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Okay, funding focus.
Yeah, some time ago, we asked people what do they think that we should use our money for. I think that each year we should at least have a theme or area that we're working on rather than just saying whoever comes to us first receives money. But that means that we need to have a mindset of what is our objective for the year. And I stress that for us to decide that as we're preparing our budget and as we're executing our budget. Because right now it seems that we just wait for someone to show up and then ask for money, and then we feel like we have to give it to them. But if we had a funding focus, whether that's trees or whether that is green spaces or whether that is working on outreach, that would help us to make financial decisions better. That's my pep talk for the down funding focus.
Okay, do we need to have it says possible action, so that's not, that's really a discussion, right?
Yeah, yeah. And again, what we did was we sent a survey out to see what people wanted to do, and I guess not much feedback on that.
That
Laura
makes
has her
total
hand up.
sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
next item is update on previous fiscal
Oh.
years open items.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that, Laura. Go ahead.
Greg, I understand that probably you didn't get a whole lot of responses, but maybe the way to do it, I know you're just gonna love what I'm about to say, but maybe the way to do it is to call a budget meeting around April and have people who are, have a meeting where you guys can discuss, people can discuss with you the funding focus and all that and help prepare the budget, not at executive, not at governing board, but kind of a standalone meeting on this. But also I wonder because there's on this list, there's another thing about the city guidance on next year's budget. I don't know if that's the same item or not. And my hand is down.
Teresa?
I agree with Laura. I know you don't like a lot of meetings, Greg, but it would be great if you could have a budget meeting. We could just sit in and you could really go do a deep dive on all of this stuff. And then also make some suggestions on, where you would like to see the board, or, what you think might be some options for us to focus on. I would love to have that.
Okay, any other comments? Item C, update on fiscal years open items. Greg?
Yeah, that was mostly,
What you talked about before?
yes.
Oh, okay. Business card update.
On that, I looked at the local vendor and I looked at Vistaprint. It saddens me that Vistaprint is half the price of a local vendor. And Vistaprint will do the design for us for $10. And then the cost for now it's 9 people that want the cards. That will cost us about $200 to get the cards from Vistaprint. Whereas with the local printer, it would be like $360. So Vistaprint is cheaper. And then the local vendor required us to order more than we actually needed. They required us to order 250, and Vistaprint, we can just order 100. So I'm gonna move forward with ordering the cards through Vistaprint, and again, they will allow us to do a design to update the template so that we can keep going back to them. But it does. Go ahead.
When you say design, you're not talking about the one that communications is talking about, their new focus logo and all that, because we just wanted the same old template on the old cards,
Right.
nothing changed except
Understood.
for putting in person's name and telephone number and email.
Understood.
We
Yes.
didn't want to change anything because we're waiting on communications to do their thing, right?
And Raheem's going to comment on that, but I want to respond to your question. When I say that the template, before I sent them exactly what I wanted them to print, but now that they already have that, now we have to update that. So it's not a new design, it's just editing the template that we have for now for the 50 or 100 cards that we're ordering.
Okay, Laura?
Yeah, and I'm guessing since Raheem's hand is up, he's going to say the same thing. So, what Raheem doesn't know is what we all know. So Raheem and Gabby have scheduled for their communications committee meeting this week, a discussion of new design and he'll tell you about it, for business cards. What Raheem doesn't know is for this first round, we just already agreed we're going to go forward. There's not very many people with the old design, and give them time communications time to come up with a new, with a new design. So that's what we had decided a month
I
ago
think he knows that. I think
and
he
Yeah.
took
knows
to the board. So I'm going to let Raheem tell you whatever it was he was. But so we have timing issues here, but we had decided not to wait.
Okay, Raheem, and then we have a caller. Raheem?
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand what the sense of the urgency is for the cards. And then if you guys decided a month ago to move forward with printing cards, it just feels weird that we weren't made, we weren't,
Wait a second.
what's up, Teresa?
No, sorry, I'm gonna have my hand raised. I'll wait. Because I think we discussed this at board, what we were
We
gonna
did.
do, Raheem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laura,
voted
just
on
please
it.
let me finish. Yeah, go
I-
ahead, Raheem, sorry.
That's fine. I left the board meeting. I had to leave the board meeting early last month or early this month, so maybe it was after I left, but okay. I mean, my point is, we spent a lot of time figuring out this new logo, this new design. It seems a little haphazard to just be moving forward with business cards in the old design. So again, my main question is about the sense of urgency for business cards right now. Is there something that people are going to be going to in these next few weeks that like is going to require some business cards? Like what's the sense of urgency there?
Well, I can't speak for everybody else, Raheem. I can only speak for myself. And I'm on the outreach committee with Lizzie. And I've got two assignments, the apartment building that's on the corner of Western and 31st, and the apartment building that's on 4th Ave and Jefferson. And I have met with previous managers of those buildings and passing out information to the tenants that live there. And they always ask me for a business card. And when I talk to other people about stuff going on with UNNC, they ask me for a business card. And I know Taylor and other people feel that that's old fashioned.
That's
Well,
not my position, but okay.
well, the comment was made in previous board members that that's old fashioned, and I took issue with it.
Yep, and so did I, actually. So did I. So I'm right there with you.
As a matter of fact, it fell right in with illicit bias, implicit bias about my age. At any rate, that was the reason. That's my sense of urgency. I don't know about anybody else, because the people I talk to are asking me, "Oh, do you have a card?" I know the younger generation, so give me your number, and they put it in the phone. But the people I'm talking to is asking me for a card, so that's why I want them. And I asked for a smaller amount with the understanding that the communications department or committee is coming up with our new logo and all that. So that's why I didn't ask for the full Monty where we've gotten in the past where 500 cards come to us in that big old block, right? So I just asked for 100 just for temporary use until you guys did whatever it is that you wanted to do. So caller in use and then Teresa. Caller?
Yes,
Caller.
if you do have the following information available, how many printing vendors are within your neighborhood council? Because you referred to one vendor. Thank you.
Oh, in our immediate area, within a mile radius, there is one vendor that's in a mile radius. And there may be more, like when I pull up the Google map of vendors, I can see multiple vendors, I guess within a 5 to 10 mile radius. But I was looking at vendors that are on Washington, which is right in our immediate area.
Thank you. Teresa, and then back to the caller, then Laura.
Hey, thank you, Dolores. Yes, I'm sorry, Raheem, you may not remember, and maybe you did leave the meeting earlier or early-ish. But we did decide that we were going to move forward with the standard design we have now because your team had not completed the design. It was not ready. And I just want to say that mentioned before, when are we going to have this rollout on your design? Because I'm ready to go with it, but I am with Dolores. I need those cards. Something happened to the building next door, and then an inspector came, and I was talking to them. I was like, I'm with the neighborhood council. I would have liked to have said, yes, I'm with the neighborhood council. Here you go. Call me, email me. And so I can take care of this issue with this building. And then one time there was a tree pruner who was doing some things with the electrical wires. And I was like, what's happening? I don't know anything about this, because I'm the tree person. I would have liked to have been able to say, here you go with my card. So if you could have said 2 months ago, hey, I'm going to have this design ready, the business card design ready in 2 months, then we would probably wait. But at this point, it's been 5 months since I've been a board member, and I don't have any cards. So
caller and then Laura. Caller, you are on mute. Go ahead. Where'd she go? Okay,
she put her hand down.
Laura?
Yeah, I was just going to answer the question. We also have a printing account at the printer that Greg was talking about. Print Depot is the one we were talking about. There are other printers, but at this point, it's kind of easy to walk for our members to walk in and place an order at that printer, and then we pay after the fact. So just FYI, that's all.
Okay, any other comments on business card update?
Yeah, I'll just say, Greg, also, I talked to the guys at Print Depot, and they are able to do a smaller run of printing if the cards are delivered in a certain way. Since if the back is the exact same as if the back is going to be the same across all the cards, then they can probably print them on fewer sheets and yield smaller numbers. I talked to them about that today. Yeah, and Teresa, it hasn't been 5 months since we got the logo approved. We knew that once we got the logo approved, there was going to be we needed time to kind of figure out how the logo is going to be used on all these different things that we're rolling out. That's taking time. We have business card designs ready to look at now, but we have to show them to the board to get them approved. Like nothing, as you guys well know, nothing happens quickly with this board when things need to get approved and shown. So anyway, so I guess we'll see. You guys will do what you're going to do with this business card print, and then we'll print some more next year.
Oh, dang it.
What?
I lost my agenda. Okay.
Next is city guidance.
Yes.
Did we make a decision on this? Are we?
Yeah, basically I was just updating.
That was just an update.
Update. I'm ordering them. I looked at the local vendor. They were twice as much. Their minimum order was $250, which is what they shared with me today. And so I want to go with the local vendor because I want to support local vendors, but Vistaprint is cheaper.
Can we make a commitment next year to try to use Office Depot or Office Print Depot? I mean, can we make that commitment?
We can, yeah, we could. Yes, we can make that commitment as a very general statement. Yes, we can make that commitment.
Okay, because maybe we'll have more people who want business cards next year. I mean, I don't know.
We are losing board members. Can we get through the rest of this agenda? City guidance on next year's budget. Is that something
that's just kind of like a question of, which may be in line with this desire to have a budget meeting, but we just want to make sure that we know of any city guidance that they provided to us. And I don't have anything to share on that, but I know that Gibson mentioned that the city was putting out some guidance on budget for next year. So anyway, I guess I'm planning for what are we going to do for next year already.
Okay. Old business, follow up to previous agenda items, discussion and possible action. Who's presenting that? Laura?
Yeah, no, that's just a standard thing. Just in case there's something that we really need to take an action on, which I don't think there is.
All right.
But I mean, I'm having that added. It's part of our new template, just putting it at the bottom of every agenda, except for governing board. to just give the committees in this committee the ability to act if there's something urgent.
Okay, so that's it. It is 9:39 PM, meeting adjourned.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank you,
Namaste.
everybody.
Namaste.
Thank you. Merry
Um,
Christmas and Happy New Year, because I won't be talking to you.
Oh, that's right.
We
You're gonna
going-
have another vacation.
We going to Bahamas, Jamaica?
Uh,
We going to
the
Belize?
Eastern and Southern Caribbean.
Oh, my
Oh.
God.
Have a great
for you.
time.
Aruba
That's great.
and Turks and a bunch of other places.
Good for you.
Okay, you're braver than most of us, but then again,
you.
my family has decided we're going back to Taylor's for steaks for Christmas Eve, indoor dining only. Yay, not. But I'm doing it.
None of my kids are coming home for Christmas, so I'm getting out of Dodge.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I'm still nervous about COVID, but
I know.
I'm gonna brave the world for 1 4-hour period.
I had 10 people die, friends and family members, since June.
Oh, no.
I am still trying to take care of this and that. Mentally, I am out of it, and I'm getting out of the country.
All right, lady.
Good
Have a
for you,
evening.
Dolores. Good for you. Have a
Take
great
care.
time.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All right. See you
All right.
guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, were you ever able to look at the freaking words? Why not? Well, can you save it as draft again? Those would be the two choices.